Welcome into the Lounge, presented by DraftKings. We have the pleasure of sitting down with wide receiver Malik Cunningham. And Malik, I know these minicamp practices are taxing. How much more taxing is practice as a wide receiver versus quarterback?
Man, it's like night and day. Way more running, more thinking. Well, I mean, I feel like the thinking level is probably on the same, but since I'm going to receiver, so I still got to think a lot.
Yeah.
Like while the play going, how to come out of route or what defense they're in. So it's just been a lot.
Yeah. So, I mean, the transition that you're making and have made really is incredible. I mean, it's just that's pretty rare. Just how do you feel like it's going from quarterback to wide receiver now?
It's been going good. It's all, at the end of the day, it's all a mindset. So if my mind's right, I feel like I'm going to go out there and do it. I want to be out there, so my body, everything is all together. So it's going to let me be able to play free and be who I am. When you go out there and not really halfway in, I want to do, you're not going to be your best, and that could cause problems for the team.
So you mentioned the mental piece of it. How big of it is a learning curve at this stage of the game? I mean, you're learning a new position at the NFL level. Like, we're not talking here high school football. Like, you're learning a new position at the NFL level. How big of a learning curve is it?
I mean, I feel like that's where it goes back to the quarterback and me and learning the plays, because the offense, they're throwing a lot of stuff at us, but if you get a good grasp of what's the common goal for the offense, you'll have a pretty good outlook at what to do and how to do it. So I feel like that's where I took advantage of just being a quarterback and going to position and just knowing what everybody has to do. So just say we all in the play and the X might not know what to do, I can be able to be there to help them, and that's been a plus for us.
That's interesting.
When a play is called, do you think of it from a quarterback perspective at this point, where you're kind of thinking protection, you're thinking here's what every route is, or are you thinking of it from a receiver standpoint? Like, I got to believe that transition is probably hard. It's kind of like if you're speaking a different language, like how do you see a play once a play is called?
Like, honestly, how I see it, like when I'm in the huddle, it's straight receiver, so I'm hearing the call. Like if it's I'm hearing the call. So but when I get out to my spot, that's when the quarterback come in. It's like, oh, okay, I see the coverage. So, okay, they're gonna do this. So I already know if the quarterback gonna change it or keep the play on. So just getting ahead of, like, I don't know, it's just a quarterback in me just seeing it out there.
So you feel like it's a big advantage for you?
Yeah, it is for sure. Like, I already know, like, before they know it. I mean, sometimes with our defense, the sky's really good. So. But you see it so much each and every day. We've been going against them for the last 3 weeks, so, I mean, you kind of know what they're going to do now.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about how the process went of deciding, all right, we're going to focus on wide receiver now? Was that you going to coaches, or how did it all go down?
No, coach, they actually came to me like a week before the draft, and then they just thought, they was like, we want to see you work in the slot. But at first, I looked at it as like, dang, man, I want to be a quarterback. But at the same time, we got to do what's best for the team, and that's how I looked at it. And so I was like, hey, I can make plays for the quarterbacks out there when I get the ball in space. So I looked at it as a plus, not as a fail.
But that's got to be, when you've played quarterback for so long, it is a little bit of a tough thing to handle.
It's kind of like, what's the word, like, I believe in myself and my ability. Like, yeah, I can play quarterback, but that's not what they need me to do right now. They need me to do something else. So I'm the type of guy, whatever it takes for the team to win, that's the type of guy I am.
And do you feel like, all right, I'm done with quarterback forever, or like I could go back at some point if another team wanted me to?
One thing about a quarterback, some of the old heads always tell me, like, once you go to another position, you never lose it. So, like, I will never lose my spiral. One of the coaches told me that, don't never lose your spiral no matter what. Like, back in the day, they've been told me that, and then now when I got here, they tell me that don't lose your spiral because you never know what might happen. Like, knock on wood.
Trick play?
Yeah, trick play for sure.
Trick play?
You don't want to put that out there too early, though.
Hey, don't let the secrets out. Don't let the secrets out. Wait, I'm curious to go back to that conversation before the draft. Who was it that called you? Was it Coach Harbaugh? Was it Coach Lewis?
No, the position coaches.
Okay.
And they asked me, and then I was like, took like 1 or 2 days to think on it, and I was like, yeah, I'm all in on it.
Really? And so what was that process of thinking about it like?
It was, it's kind of like what I went through in New England, kind of. But it was like a little bit different because I kind of knew, like, before there was like, you're going to do quarterback and receiver over there. So now it was just straight receiver. Yeah. So at New England, I was doing both, but now it's just straight receiver. So it's like, they asked me to do it. I'm like, okay, it's not the first time I've heard it. Like, it's not like, oh, man, they don't want to play quarterback no more. They want me to try to evolve and help the team. So that's how I looked at it.
Yeah, there's been some good examples of players who have been college quarterbacks who have transitioned to wide receiver. Of course, Julian Edelman's probably at the top of the list, and Logan Thomas was a college quarterback and tight end. Of course, there's been
a couple guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Who's that Steelers? Anton Randall L.
Way back in the day.
Way back in the day. Yeah.
Terrell Pryor was one.
Randall Cobb
too.
Yeah. So there's been a number.
Yeah, I said it was rare earlier. Now we're naming like a dozen dudes.
Not gonna lie. Now that I don't know, I guess the technology is so crazy now. And now when I like go on social media or something, now all I see is trick plays or quarterback going to receiver.
The algorithm knows what you like,
That's gonna be crazy. It's crazy. Like, I'll be sitting at the house and me, Zara, Shiz will be seeing some stuff. And I'll be like, bro, like, look at this. Like, it's a trick play. Like, quarterback from a quarterback to winter. Like, it'd be crazy.
They say the algorithm is like super targeted.
Nah,
it can't get much more targeted than the quarterback's transitioning to wide receiver highlights.
That is crazy. I'll be like, bro, look at that.
That's crazy. Do you look at, I mean, I guess you look at it when you see that pop up on Instagram, but it's like, have you even looked at those guys' film or talked to any of those guys about that transition?
when I was in New England, me and Julian had a couple of conversations. Like, we just talk. He's built there a lot. We just talk ball a little bit. But other than that, I mean, Jacoby Myers, he played quarterback in college and moved to receiver. So he would still give me pointers every now and then. But a couple of guys have reached out.
Cool. Okay. Tell us a little bit about the decision to leave New England, how that all went down. And I remember when it went down, like there were so many Patriots players who were like, Malik, like you go get yours, you know, all this stuff. Like,
it was like, it was very, I mean, at this level it's all political about like what you can do now, like not what you did in the past. And so the route that was going on, we was losing. I mean, at practice, I was getting reps at quarterback, but then in the game, I only got like in the game like 3-4 plays, and we played the Raiders. Mm-hmm. But like at practice, like all the older guys wanted me to be in there, but it was just like it was on the coach, so it wasn't. Mm-hmm. So now, like when they seen it happen, they was all boosting up because they was like, I should have been out there. Which I know that, and the coaches that was in the building, they knew that too, but it was just higher ups that it just didn't happen.
Interesting. So that must have been a hard thing for you to grapple with.
I mean, it was, but at the same time, I was sitting back. Like, I wasn't laughing out loud, but I'm laughing inside because, like, I mean, we 2-10. You still ain't changed it yet. So, like, I mean, I'm here. Like, I'm getting a paycheck every week, so I'm happy to be here, man. So,
right. What was it like reuniting with Lamar? I mean, kind of the Louisville connection is alive and well.
Like, when I first got here, it just felt like how it was my freshman year, like college all over again. Like, seeing him and how he act, and then the players, how all the players grasp to him. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just like night and day, man. It's crazy.
That's cool. So just to fill any viewers or listeners in on your backstory, you know, I want to talk about that a little bit. You played with Lamar in college at Louisville. You were there together for one season, right? And you also had the difficult task of following in his footsteps there, which is, you know, which is a high bar, of course. But what was it like when you went to Louisville and Lamar Jackson was there? The year you got there he was fresh off the Heisman, right? So you're stepping into this environment. You have the Heisman Trophy winner there. What was that like as a young kid stepping into a college environment?
Man, it was just like, you know how like as a kid, like meeting your not your idol, because like he's only like a couple years older than me, but like I looked at him like how some kids looked at Michael Vick when they was coming up. So like now that we was in the room together, it was like, man, that's crazy. But like where I'm from, not too many people make it. Like we had a couple people make it, like D'Amico Rhymes, like he made it, but like not too many people made it. And like to see him make it and like where he come from, and kind of like the same story I had, but like not the same type of story, but black quarterbacks coming in and not really getting a chance, and then him being able to go to Louisville and do what he did. I'm like, man, he only going to be here one more year, so I'm going to go follow his footsteps and try to do the same thing he did.
So you went to Louisville, and was it in part because Lamar Jackson was there?
I mean, yeah, that played a big, like when I got the offer from Louisville, like went Kentucky, then Louisville, and like once I seen like he won the Heisman, I'm like, he only got to do 3 years. He's going to do one more year, and he's going to leave. So I'm like, I'm just going to go to Louisville and be the quarterback after him.
Yeah. Right. And so, like you said, that's a high bar. The pressure is on. How did you handle that?
Man, the first year, me and one quarterback, I got hurt in camp the year he left.
Gotcha.
And it was me and one other quarterback. And then he played like the first 3 games. And no, that's the year our coach got fired. So we went 2-10. Right when Lamar left, we went 2-10. Coaches got fired. So we got a whole new staff come in the following year, the year after I redshirted. So I didn't get to play. And so when the new coaches came in, basically like a new slate. And then the offense that we was running, it fit the scheme that I was playing in high school. So it was like, I have to be a quarterback in this system, and it was on from there.
Right.
What was, I'm curious, like, what was Lamar, we see him here in this building, but when he was, something that I've heard many times, and I think it's true for him here, like he's had a lot of success. He's been kind of at the top, but he hasn't really changed. He treats people the same way. Like, I'm curious what it was like when like you step into that environment, and like this is a guy who's coming, like you can't get much bigger than winning the Heisman Trophy as a college quarterback, right?
No, fact. Well, I'm gonna tell you, like the first time I ever met him, like we was talking on Twitter. That's when Twitter was kind of big, like 15, 16. So he had followed me like when I first got the offer, and I followed him. And then I don't know if I wrote him or he wrote him, but he wrote back. like quick. And I was like, dang, he wrote back. And so I went on a visit, and I first met him. We both literally had a boot on both our left legs. But I think he had turf toe. After he won the Heisman, he had turf toe.
Yeah.
And then I came over there and I messed my ankle up. And so I'm just like, it's like hit off like right there. I'm like, bro, it's like me, but older. Like everything he do, like in college, I was doing it in high school. Like now it's like, it was just crazy.
Yeah.
That is cool. Was there at any point during college or at any point did you ever think maybe wide receiver would ultimately be the route for you?
No. Not at all. Not after I seen what he did.
Right.
Like that was like set the foundation for not just me, but just all the black quarterbacks like that was coming up, and like just seeing him do it at a high level. And he wasn't like no 6'5", 6'6", how it used to be back in the day. Like he's 6'2", 6'3", like playing backyard football, just making people miss.
Yeah. So is it that makes me feel like it's got to be hard to kind of give up that dream, like you're saying, like black quarterbacks who some people feel like they're not a quarterback, they're something else, and for you to be like, you know what? Okay, like maybe I am something else. That kind of giving up that to a degree has got to be tough.
It just goes back to me just being like not stubborn.
Yeah.
Like just like I said, just wanting to do it best for the team. Like do whatever I can do. Like be with my feet. Or I can't be thinking about why they don't think I can be a quarterback. No, I just look at it different. Like maybe they see something else in me. Maybe I need to go do this. Or just like you said, like I don't ever want to lose my spiral. Like I never know what might happen. So just staying ready. So I got to be ready, and that's just the biggest thing. And it all starts with like mentally. Like if you're not mentally in the right space, nobody else can be able to do what I'm doing right now. Totally. You got to be mentally in the right space.
Well, what's so cool to me is like, I mean, I don't know how many practices it's been exclusively a wide receiver. Not many. And it was like the first or second practice. I was like, Malik's catching a bunch of balls out here. Like it was not a slow transition where it was like, it's going to take Malik a while. Like, I mean, how have you been able to make that transition so quickly and be out there making plays against NFL athletes, I
mean, just honestly, like, I'm just keep it real. Like where I grew up at, like a lot of us like were just straight like ballers, like just straight ball. Like where it's like coach needs you to go to a receiver. Okay, I'm gonna do it, but still go be a quarterback. Like that's how that's how I grew up. I played everything. So, but when I got to middle school, I went strictly quarterback. But like I always been athletic. Like I really like honestly, I don't think Lamar can go out there and do that. What I'm doing right now. I don't think that. I really don't think that. Probably a lot of people don't think that, but he probably could. We never know.
Right.
But it's just like that in me. Like I can do it. Like you can't. It ain't nothing that nobody can say to me that I can't do if I put my mind to it. Honestly.
That's cool. That's very cool.
Have you always had good hands?
Yeah, I've been a quarterback. I mean, I played safety in Little League though.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, but like you're catching I mean, some tough catches
feel like quarterback. You catch the ball every play. So
I mean,
but I know it's easy snap. But
that's not like saying.
It's a saying though. Quarterback has the best hands.
Like ball handling, right?
Yeah. I still gotta like still look at like I took my visor out because like sweat get in my eye. Like that's one thing. Like I sweat a lot. So now now that I'm running, I'm sweating a lot. So I take my visor off. So
wide receiver problems.
Well, I gotta see everything.
It fogs up in there.
It do when I had the visor. It did.
Yeah.
I couldn't see. I'm like, I gotta take that out. I can't be dropping nothing.
Did you at any point during your youth football career like play wide receiver for an extended period of time, or like this is literally the first time?
This is literally the first time.
Okay, like there were plays that you would play out there, but it was never like I'm a wide receiver.
When I was in Little League, I used to be the one throwing because I had the strongest arm, so I would throw it to my cousin. He'll go deep.
Right.
And there were sometimes he'll switch it and he'll go to quarterback and I'll go to receiver, and then it just depends on the distance of the throw. For real, like
you had to make a long throw. You were playing
I'm going to quarterback. If it's short, he going to quarterback.
That's so funny.
So it just been like I said, like we just all hoopers growing up.
So what's the process been like in the classroom? I mean, for you in the wide receiver room, like, I mean, I know you talked about the routes from your quarterback time, but still there's a lot of intricacies.
That's actually been a plus for our room. Like me being in there and knowing like how Josh and Lamar's thinking, like how all the quarterbacks think, because I was in there for a period of time. So that's been a plus for us, like helping like some of the young guys asking questions, because sometimes the coaches really might not know. Because they're not in the rooms, but they know the system. But like at the time, they might not know it. So just being an extra hand for G. Lou and P, it's been good for the room.
That's really cool. And how do you view this competition? I mean, you're competing for a roster spot now.
Yeah,
I mean, there's spots to be won.
No, it definitely is. But in the day, like we all working for one common goal, and that's to win Super Bowl. So I feel like our room is not like, oh yeah, I'm only gonna get mine. Like everybody's helping everybody. Like everybody's interchangeable. Like you don't see too many. It's no egos in the room. Like. It's really every man's like for each other, so that's good.
That's cool, yeah.
Where does that come from? I mean, because you guys are like the team goal is of course first and foremost, but like you're all competing for roles, competing for spots. I feel like it's kind of a unique perspective to take that approach.
Yeah, I mean, you can't put like this, like basically all three of us are receivers. I got to worry about me first before I can worry about y'all two. So I can't worry about, what he's doing. Like I can't do that. Right. I worry about self first and then help others like that need help, that I see need help. Because some people be scared to ask for help. Like some rookies don't ask for help. Mm-hmm. Like last year, a couple of rookies that when I was a rookie, like we wouldn't ask for help unless like we needed it. But like other than that, like we try to do it on our own. But at this business, you're not gonna be able to do it on your own when you're a rookie. Like you're gonna need help.
Mm-hmm. Right. What did you take from your rookie season? 3/4 of it in New England, and then obviously the end of the season here in Baltimore.
Just don't take nothing for granted at all. Cause like I said, like a split change, like you could be in another team just like that, just like how I was. Like you never know, so just be where your feet are. Always be respectful, and good things happen to those type of people.
That's cool. And last one for me is just what is the most difficult part of this transition for you, and what is the part of it where you're like, yeah, I can do this. Like has there been a play? Has there been something that tells you? The
most difficult part. I mean, I feel like every quarterback going to receiver would say this is blocking, man.
Really?
You don't do much blocking as a quarterback.
Like I'm like not pretty boy, but like I'm not getting touched at practice, like none of that until the game. So like now it's like, I gotta get nasty. Like I gotta really really bow up and really go block somebody. So it's like it's been different. But the best part is, I mean, besides catching the ball, man, just being out there with my teammates and having fun. That's the biggest thing. Just having fun out there doing something I love, and yeah, just having fun.
I feel like I saw a play in practice today where you were blocking Kyle Van Noy.
Oh, yeah.
You talking about blocking.
Like, that's like that right there. Like, come on, man. This man, 15
that's a little
years.
bit of a mismatch.
Yeah. This man, 15 years in the league. So it's like, I got to block him. Yeah. I'm going to do it. I'm going to try.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to be hard.
They're testing you.
Yeah, he did. I ain't get nowhere.
I want to go back to the point that you make, because I think it's really interesting just to hear your perspective. Like, we talk a lot of times about Lamar, his impact on kids. Like I remember there's a clip back when 2019, his first year as a full starter here, and Coach Harbaugh was talking to him on the sidelines about there's going to be kids wearing your jerseys all over the place. Like the impact that you're having on the game of football, you don't even fully see it yet. And like hearing you is kind of interesting because even like only you're just a little bit younger than him, but he still had an impact on you even before you knew him. Like I just curious to see your perspective on that.
My thing, like when I came in, just to see how, because I really didn't know. Like everybody back home asked me, like, you met him yet? I'm like, nah. And then the first when I met him on my visit, I was with him the whole like most of the time. Besides like when we went out, because he really didn't go out in college. Like he never went out. He still don't go out like to this day. But it was just the fact that just seeing like how much of a people's person he is. Like even when in the like like how you text a person. Like if they think they better than everybody or like just too much, because they probably won't respond. Mm-hmm. Or like he didn't have to respond basically though, what I'm saying, but he reached out to me, and that's when I knew like, okay, like he sees something in me, or like he's just a genuine person. Mm-hmm. And when I finally met him, like he just another me, but like I said, just older, like chill guy. Like he don't do nothing. Like he make everybody laugh. Like he always want to have a good time. Always put a smile on somebody's face. So I try to take that, and then like the leadership role, like just being like, he don't have to be vocal. Like he vocal, but like you can't really tell. But like people gonna follow him just cause like who he is and like how he plays and how he works. Like you want people like that to lead your team, and that's what he does. Right.
And how much of an impact do you think he'll have on young black quarterbacks, aspiring quarterbacks? I'm talking 10, 11, 12-year-old kids out there.
Man, there's people still in the womb that just don't know that he got an impact on them. Like, I mean, that's a God-given talent. Like too many people like him come down this earth, and he's very down to earth. Like I feel like you can go to him for anything. Like anything, he's gonna be there for you.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Well, we've given Lamar all this praise. However, the point I want to bring up here, lastly, is 120 total touchdowns in college. That's a Louisville record, and Lamar Jackson doesn't have it. Malik Cunningham has it.
There we go.
Nah, for sure.
Does that mean something for you to break that record?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I would never forget that. Like even. Like to this day, like even though I moved to receiver, like people will still tell me like, you still got the record. I'm like, bro, I know. Like he got hella records, but I mean, I'm good with that one though. For sure. For his name to be right under mine, I like that one. That. For once.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Well, Malik, hey man, this has been a pleasure.
Appreciate y'all.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You're listening to The Lounge Podcast. We're coming to you from the SeatGeek studio. Also, we want to give a shout out to our friends at DraftKings Sportsbook. They are an official sports betting partner of the Baltimore Ravens. They've got a limited time offer running that you don't want to miss. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today. Use the promo code FLOCK if you are a new user. you can get a deposit bonus up to $1,000. Again, the promo code is FLOCK only at DraftKings Sportsbook. You need to be 21 years or older to play and physically present in Maryland. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER. So I just enjoyed the conversation with Malik. I mean, high energy guy, like likable. I think this made me laugh when he kept saying he's like me but older.
The boot.
Yeah.
He's a really likable guy, a friend of the lounge now, another friend of the lounge, a guy to root for. And yeah, I mean it's a fascinating story what he's doing, and the fact that it's really his first time playing wide receiver and he's doing it at the NFL is pretty crazy, and he's been practicing really well. I mean, I think this guy legitimately has a shot to make the 53, if not the practice squad. You know, I think that he's got a pretty good shot, because you go down this roster and you look at wide receiver and how many locks are there? You know, Zay, Bateman, Nelly, Tez. Yeah. And then it's kind of open after that. Yeah, you know, I think Tylan Wallace definitely has a good shot. Deontay Hardy, you know, is definitely in the thick of that competition. And then Malik and a handful of other guys. So he, especially if he does some work on special teams or whatever it is, you know, and just the versatility he brings also is another check in his favor. I think that he's somebody to watch this summer.
Well, look, he was on the 53-man roster at the end of last season. When the Ravens went to the AFC Championship, they had 4 quarterbacks, and he wasn't really providing anything at wide receiver at that point.
Right.
But they still liked the potential in him to bring him on the 53 at that point. So I think that gives you at least an indication that the Ravens have a belief in his potential. And
well, yeah, but that was before they drafted Devin Leary, right? So that was like, the thought then was certainly, okay, well, Snoop is in the final year. He might not be re-signed potentially, and Malik Cunningham could be the Snoop replacement.
Yeah.
And then they really liked Devin Leary in the draft and did a lot of homework on the draft eligible quarterbacks, and it was kind of up in the air as Malik, which direction we want to go. And by virtue of them calling him a couple weeks before the draft, that was a wise organizational decision to be like, you know what, we're not going to blindside you and draft a quarterback, and that's how you find out, hey, guess what, you're not the number 3 quarterback anymore. Right. It's like, hey, are you cool with this, with transitioning this way? Because they were thinking there's a decent chance we're going to draft a quarterback.
Yeah, and like, when I watch him at practice, he does not look out of place to me at all. He does not look to me like a quarterback trying to figure out wide receiver. He looks like a natural athlete. He catches the thing to me that has really been impressive. Like he's a good athlete. He put up a ton of yards on the ground in college. He's a dual threat quarterback. So like running with the ball and making those type of plays, like that's not surprising. But the way he catches the ball pretty fluidly and like runs receiver routes with relative ease, like all of that stuff to me it has kind of surprised me, to be honest, just seeing a guy who's making this switch in positions at this stage of his career and doing it with a relative, I'm not saying it's easy, but at least it looks relatively easy to the eye.
Looks pretty smooth.
Yes, very smooth
to our eye.
Yeah.
And he, like you said, he's a baller, and he's got quickness. I mean, he's just an athlete, right? And his quickness and ability to kind of shake loose underneath, you know, like you said, they wanted him to play slot receiver.
Yeah.
And Devin Duvernay is no longer on this team. There is a role for kind of a slot, you know, guy coming across on jet sweeps, motioning, you know, doing some of that kind of more unique, crafty kind of plays, running some of that stuff. Deontay Hardy can do some of that too, but we haven't seen Deontay Hardy on the field yet.
Yeah.
And so I think that there's certainly an opportunity to fill that kind of gadget role and do some of that work underneath, and Malik seems well suited for it.
Honestly, when you look at the receivers, like, that's not Bateman's role. Bateman, I think, is your traditional X receiver. Nelson Aguilar, kind of similar.
That's not really his role.
That's not really his role. I mean, Zay Flowers can do that, but he was an outside receiver.
Mostly outside receiver.
Exactly. He was basically an outside receiver last year. He can do some of that stuff and move inside if needed.
You want to get him out in space and all that stuff.
I think that you're looking for somebody in that slot role, and I think that Malik Cunningham has the potential to be that guy for the Ravens. Devontae Walker, rookie, but he's a big outside receiver as well, you know?
And certainly he can do slot work too, like a Nelson Aguilar can.
Yeah.
He's to me a similar kind of body type to Nelson Aguilar, can run those slot fades and get over the top. I mean, Malik Cunningham is not coming here to go beat people over the top. That's what Tez Walker's job is. You know, he's working underneath kind of stuff.
Yeah, I just, he'll be fun to watch, I think, in in preseason games and in training camp for sure. I think that competition for really that sixth receiver spot, that 5'6",
5'6", yeah.
And then they've kept 7 in the past. I don't know if they're going to or not. I don't think that's going to be the case. But I think that 5'6" range is going to be one of the type battles of camp.
And I love his attitude, really above all else. Like I asked him multiple questions. Like it's got to be tough to give up quarterback, and like. I thought his mindset was really refreshing. Like I'm going to do what's best for the team, and hey, you can't be too stubborn, right? Like there's a difference between chasing your dreams, and Lamar Jackson has done that, and he stuck with it even when some people said, whatever, you should play wide receiver, and he said, nah, I ain't doing that, and it worked out for Lamar. But not everybody's Lamar Jackson, even though he's like I'm a younger Lamar, and he broke his record and all that stuff. Like not everybody is Lamar Jackson, and you have to be kind of not stubborn and be selfless and all those things. And I think that Malik has the right mindset about all this. And he, hey, maybe down the line he does get back to quarterback. But for right now, this is how he's going to help the Ravens. And he's running with it.
Yeah, I just think that he seems like a guy that I loved his attitude. I love talking with him and getting to know him a little bit more. I think that he's, just seeing him around the building and on the field and in the locker room, he's a guy that seems to have great relationships in a short amount of time. He's still close with Lamar Jackson. Yeah. And so those two guys.
He's like Lamar.
Around. Yeah.
He's an easy guy to get along with.
Yeah. So it was great. It was great talking with him, and I wish him the best of luck. Friend of the Lounge. He's a friend of the Lounge. So as always, you can email us at thelounge@ravens.nfl.net. Make sure you stay tuned. Hit subscribe to this podcast, also the Ravens Press Pass podcast. Thank you so much for watching and listening. We'll talk with you again soon.